Please, can we meet you?
My name is Ogbiji Nyiam. Like my friend said, the aspirant without an English name.
Wow.
I am from Idum. Okay. Idum is a community in Ogoja local government. I'm married. Thank God for the wife I have. With 3 beautiful children, so wonderful kids.
That's good, that's good. Away from all that, you understand you're actually vying for the position in your political party, the All Progressive Congress. Can you tell us exactly the position you are vying for? Let's not, let the people not hear from you.
Okay, take yourself away from understanding. I know it today.
Okay.
I am aspiring for the office of the state chairman of the All Progressives Congress in Prosper State.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, viewers, this is Mr. Ogbiji Nyiam. He has said it all. He's aspiring for the position of the state chairman of the All Progressive Congress. So, what do you intend to offer differently when you meet the state chairman? Well, we already know the nature of the party. We've already seen a lot of things, heard a lot of things. People have been vying, people have been contesting, people have been chairman before now. What do you offer differently?
I wish I was going to give it out an expo.
Okay.
But you know, just like every man has a different DNA, so also is every man's character content is different. Leadership is supposed to be a reflection of the person's character, the person's thinking. And I have sent in several. Let me start with, maybe I should also tell you one thing about myself. I started first in my second year. The decision for me to even go and study because I saw the university was fashioned from my resolve to do politics. Okay. In my second year in the University of Calabar, I actually wanted to be the National Worldwide President, National Association of Crossover State Students Worldwide President. But the outgoing president was from the Northern Central District, and the entire of the stakeholders came down and said, no, you have everything it takes to be the president of National Worldwide President. Let's not heat up the system, go for the next office that is going to the north. And then now say, take the office of the Secretary General, which is zone to the north. Cross-Riverians who were in school at the time of my administration in National Worldwide will attest to the facts. It is about who are you, whether you're a head prefect in primary 1, class prefect in primary 1, whether you're class prefect in SS3, whether you're class rep in the universities. Certain things stand you out. Certain things stand you out. Everybody who has been a leader today, people begin to look back and say, oh yes, when he was in social level, this is who he was. He started displaying certain characters, like His Excellency today. Discussing with people who were with him in UI, they will tell you that way back then in the University of Ibadan, he will stand up and tell you you're looking at the next governor of Prosper State. They may have taken him on serious, that he had a dream, he had a vision. It was in his DNA. So, when you say what I'm going to offer differently, my brother, internal democracy, you don't do this alone. Okay. You do it, now the party has a leadership. You do it with serious and intense collaboration with the leader of the party and the stakeholders to ensure that what your thinking is of internal democracy does not offend anybody, that is agreeable by all. Transparency is this. When everybody is on the same page, you don't hear one person saying this happened or that happened. There will be transparency. Let me also tell you another thing, my brother. I will engage the leader of the party in the state and in South Nigeria, His Excellency Senator Professor Ayabe, and the party at the national. My ESCO will be trained Because a man who does not know his rules of engagement cannot be faulted when he does not carry out his duties properly. I will ensure that the ESCO knows what they are there for. See this. I don't know what is bringing anybody to the ESCO, but for me, it is to serve, to make APC be enviable. By the time I'm chairman of APC in Cross River State, I can assure you one thing. After like 3, 4, 6 months, other states will be sending their own chairmen to come and learn how party administration is being run, so that those states can actually also take the shape of the party that I'm going to make Cross River APC to be.
Okay, so before you continue, let me quickly put this. You mentioned a very critical salient point where you actually mentioned the leader of the party, the governor. Recently, the state from the national actually conducted the ward and the chapter congress. And there have been this issue of one party or one discontent party to go into court and all that. It boils down to the fact that a lot of things is not well. I mean, a lot are not well. And you just also mentioned about some section of the caretaker committee. I mean, finding themselves in unfair and unhealthy situation. So, I mean, looking at all this put together, what is your take? I mean, how do you advise the way forward in this situation? Because it's actually a minus to the party.
Truth of the matter is that just yesterday I called my wife over something, and she was telling me one thing, but I wanted to hear another thing, and I shouted at her, and we quarreled. What am I trying to tell you? No two people can exist in one environment and they don't quarrel. Even the deaf and dumb quarrel. So whatever is happening in APC is normal, very normal. In the state chapter of the party is very normal. We always disagree to agree. When we now sit and say, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened, and we are all on the same page. Everybody, they are not mad people. They will move on in peace. So it's not an issue to begin to go to news, I would say so. However, for the conduct of the congresses from the chapter, from the what? Through chapter level as it is now, I make bold to tell you this. If I would take from what happened in my ward, we sat down and we argued among ourselves and we said, let this person go. First, I would say it. Some persons will go and say, the governor did this, the governor said this. Sir, I will tell you this. There was no instruction in my ward that we must return a new APC member. Matter of fact, in my ward, with the understanding of both those who came in and those of us who have been in the party, we have an old member for chairman and even an old member for secretary. There are people of our ward. We are in the same party. The issue of old member, new member does not arise. But I notice also, like some persons would say, in my ward, they took away everything. Looking at those people, like I've known them in the APC that we operated before now. These are people who, on the day of election, would be sleeping in another local government. Whereas, members of the party, as it were, in their own wards, would be left to themselves. And then, for these members now, those people who used to come and fight them in APC, today are in APC with them. They are not enemies. And people say, we are in the same party, this is what we want. What do you expect them to do? They will go with these people.
Okay.
So the issue of the governor, the governor that I truly and actually debunk it. I think also that where people fail to go and sit down, negotiate, they just expect. Being an old member in APC, it is not a title. It is not an award. A stakeholder in any political party is dependent on how effective you have been, how active you have been, or how active you are. And when a man sits down, crosses his leg and feels that because I'm old member, they should give me this, they should give me that. It doesn't work like that. You ask, you negotiate. It's politics.
A game of interest.
Of course, yes. Like in the chapter, this is what happened in Ogoja. We're given invitation as stakeholders to a zoning meeting. In Ogoja, the zoning committee chairman was an old member. Are you hearing me? We had about 3-4 old members. The old members even dominated the zoning committee. And then they zoned the chairmanship to a particular ward. And this ward now stand down and say, okay, of all the people aspiring, this man that was the chapter chairman then in PDP, we think he's the best man we have to return him back. How will you fault that? How would you fault it? No, just tell me. Okay. So I think it is not much of His Excellency. It's about us. We fear to sit down to negotiate. In fact, even before the negotiation table ends, even before we end at the negotiation table, we are quick to begin to run and go and say Peter did this or Paul did this. No. Everything is within us. The governor never went to anybody's word. I don't think he even went to Ogoja or the door of the Congress. But again, my brother, I would not want to take credit or take liability for whatever happened. Because if I were state chairman, I would have managed the processes differently. This is where I fought the managers of this process. Why so? If consensus is meant that you call all the people who are aspiring. Beyond that, you look at who has bought from, who has not bought from. You call them to a table and say, look, for this and this and this reasons, for this and this and this interest, we think it should be like this. Okay, you argue with them. You give them room to also impute. Okay. And by the end of the day, head or tail, a superior decision, a superior argument will be ruled upon. Why I say I don't completely go with the managers of these processes, they failed to do that. They gave people reason to become unnecessarily agitated. They gave people reason to feel that they were not seen as important. No, even now it's not too late. Call those people, sit them down, appeal to them, talk to them like human beings, like people who had also interest. Because ordinarily that's where consensus and custom. Appeal to them, persuade them, and let them have a sense of belonging in the party. When a decision has been taken, if you go against it, you're going against the entire party. And for now, I think we should be exhausted from so much fighting in APC as it were, for us to continue fighting. For those who have gone to court, I still admonish that they should withdraw such matters. The round table has not become a square shape that we cannot sit round and talk. Let every matter be brought. We discuss it here. Let also the managers of the process as it is extend a hand to these people who are aggrieved, who are agitated. Because you can only call a man for a discussion before he comes to you.
Well, that was Mr. Ogbiji Nyiam. He has spoken extensively on the events of a few weeks bordering on the ward and the chapter congress. He has also spoken about how he intends to run the party when they made state chairman of the All Progressive Congress. I am Daniel Agbo reporting now. Thank you very much.